Welcome to our philosophy video presentation that will focus on Paulo Freire's theory of the problem-posing model of education. Presenters include Laura Middleton, Kennedy Fremlin, and Debra Pratt.
Paulo Freire was a Brazilian educator exiled for his progressive belief that education should liberate people. Despite this, he continued to drive these notions through his main philosophy called the problem-posing model of education. This newly proposed model of learning sharply contrasts the traditional education format, referred to as the banking model. In the banking model, teachers act as the depositors of information into passive students seen as receptacles, where the teachers maintain ultimate control and narration over lectures, limiting student participation. This traditional banking model made students complacent, silent listeners in their learning. Freire criticized this approach as oppressive, arguing that it alienates students from their own learning.
To combat this oppressive nature, Freire suggests the problem-posing model, where students become active investigators in their own learning alongside their teachers. Rather than observing passively, students become functional learners, exploring information and learning through their own individual ways and processes. This allows students to take back the power of their education. Within this process, teachers pose real-life problems or issues for students to co-investigate, guiding their exploration with further questioning and prompting reflection to deepen their understanding and learning.
To connect this philosophy to practice, we designed a lesson plan where students lead their own investigation of budgeting and financial literacy in response to prompts given by the teacher based on curriculum expectations shown here.
Students collaborate in groups to create their own budget using online resources and materials they've researched, in addition to those provided by teachers acting as their co-investigators. Students make informed spending decisions based on real-world constraints given, such as rent and utilities, food, and transportation. This mirrors Freire's problem-posing approach by engaging students in relevant, student-centered inquiry that breaks free from the passive and oppressive banking model of education.
To start this problem-posing process of learning, we engage Step 1. Teachers begin the lesson by prompting students with several deep-thinking questions to engage their reasoning behind how they spend their money. Freire believed that connecting learning to real-life issues by posing challenges or problems would help students see knowledge as a part of their lived experience, leading to higher understanding of the overall topic.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Grade 9 Math. Today I want you to all think about what exactly does it mean to live within your means in terms of money. What do you guys think? Discuss.
Step 2. Students engage in dialogue based on the question posed to begin the critical thinking and co-investigation process outlined by Freire's problem-posing model. Freire identifies communication as a key foundation to breaking away from the oppressive narration coinciding with the banking model, as he states that through dialogue it aids in liberating education by posing a new relationship between students and teachers where they equally lead in learning.
Living within my means not spending my entire paycheck in one place and trying to be smarter about my money choices.
Okay, I feel like I do the same thing. I also like to buy things that are the cheaper option, like not spend unnecessarily. So maybe I can save a little that way.
Step 3. The teacher facilitates continual dialogue with their students, as Freire suggests the traditional teacher-student roles associated with the banking model to be broken down. That way they can lead co-investigation of learning together.
I do think it's fair. The cheaper option is a really good idea.
Okay, great discussion, guys. So now I want you to think of what are some things that you are saving up for currently?
I want the new PS5.
Okay.
I want to buy a new car.
Okay. Anything else? Maybe upcoming future big things you're saving for?
You know what? I'm actually saving for college.
Okay, I really like you're on the great track.
Step 4. The teacher presents a challenge that directly correlates to relevant issues to the students' lives as a form of assignment related to budget and financial literacy. Much like Freire suggests in his problem-posing model, presenting learning through a challenge allows students to develop their own power to perceive critically the way they exist in the world to further their learning in a conscious way.
Okay, one of your classmates had a great idea about saving for college. So prompt is, imagine you're a college student that's struggling with funds. How would you create a budget for a month based on your money spent for transportation, rent and utilities, and food? How would you create that budget? What would you include? What do you think is important?
Step 5. The teacher then further co-investigates financial literacy with their students to continue the process of Freire's problem-posing method.
Okay, good job. I just want to interrupt. Here's a resource I found for you guys. It's like a food flyer. Since you mentioned choosing cheaper alternatives, I think it would be really useful for your group. Is there anything you else have found in terms of resources for your budget?
I found this.
Okay, great. You're on the right track. Maybe you could post this to the Bright Space for the other students and help them.
Our demonstration applies Freire's problem-posing model of education by challenging students to evaluate the importance of money within their own lives, prompting them to come up with how they would create a realistic budget as a form of assessment.
Hence, the purpose in providing this lesson was to allow students to become liberated in their education by using this Freirian approach via the problem-posing strategy, thus giving them the tools to expand their knowledge and critical thinking on budgeting and financial literacy as a real-life applicable subject for their futures.
The potential consequences of this lesson for the students include critical thinking development, active engagement, and taking ownership of their learning, as Freire's problem-posing model empowers students to create both independence and a sense of social responsibility within their education.
Some anticipated questions about our lesson might include: how does this lesson ensure all students stay on task during open-ended discussions and learning? Teachers maintain lesson structure through guided questioning throughout, as well as periodic check-ins, ensuring dialogue stays relevant while still allowing student autonomy. Another question could be, how do you assess student learning in a problem-posing lesson? Where, rather than focusing on memorization, teachers formatively evaluate areas of the process of learning, such as student participation, collaboration, reasoning, and reflection, through observation, group work, and final budgeting assignment products.
When we compare Freire's philosophy to other educational thinkers, we can see strong connections and meaningful contrasts. For instance, John Dewey and Paulo Freire both believe that education should be active, experimental, and grounded in real-world problem-solving. However, Dewey's focus was primarily on preparing students for participation in a democratic society, whereas Freire extends his idea of the problem-posing model of education towards gaining liberation from oppression, emphasizing education as a political and transformative act for students.
Similarly, Freire and Mary Wollstonecraft share the beliefs in education as a means of empowerment and equality. While Wollstonecraft advocated for women's access to rational and moral education to achieve personal independence, Freire, in contrast, focused on collective liberation for all students who were oppressed through the banking model of education by engaging dialogue and critical reflection in the problem-posing model. Regardless, both Freire and Wollstonecraft saw education as the foundation for human dignity, agency, and social change.
Thus, using the problem-posing model, we allow students to become liberated in their education.